Well, it's no surprise that when Amazon announced that they'd be making a Lord of the Rings TV series, it caused a massive stir. After winning 21 Oscars and 6 movies already created that have worked up what I think safe to say is one of the biggest fan bases in modern society, and it would have taken something big to live up to the majesty of the previous ventures into Middle-earth. Well, the first three at least. After beating off HBO and Netflix... Oh wait, no, I should probably change that in the script. After fighting off HBO and Netflix, Amazon claimed the megalithic franchise, signing a $250 million rights contract. Obviously, I mean, everyone's a little bit skeptical about this because it's 2018. Everyone's hopes and dreams have been pretty much crushed by Hollywood at this point anyway.
I don't like sand.
But wait, I'm here to ramble on a little bit about to you guys why I personally have high hopes and why I think you shouldn't be so skeptical about this TV series and why I think the Lord of the Rings TV series will be better than you think. This is probably what most people think when they heard about the new Lord of the Rings series being taken over by Amazon. Yeah, we're thinking of making a new... We need some more money. I mean, we're Amazon, we make like... Wait, actually... Okay, we might have a bit of money, but we need to make a bit more money. What should we do? I don't know, we could like start selling Jaffa cakes on Amazon or something like that. No, we already sell Jaffa cakes on Amazon for a pretty good price. I mean, they keep getting bought by this weird guy that makes YouTube videos. Oh shit, yeah. What a loser. We need something bigger than that. What about Lord of the Rings? That's a big thing, isn't it? Why don't we do that? Yeah, get us some good money. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Yeah. Oh, you got any Jaffa cakes, mate? I can't help myself from getting cringier and cringier, Jesus. But these guys, I don't think they're just men in suits that want a bit of coin. Well, I mean, they kind of are. But it's more than that. It's more than that, I promise you. Amazon Studios are in cooperation with the Tolkien Estate and Trust and New Line Cinema, you probably heard of before. They're a small section of Warner Bros. And they actually helped make the original movies with your boy Petri Jackson. There's definitely some pedigree behind these guys and what they've done before, so they definitely have a name for themselves. They're not newcomers into this, not knowing anything about the universe. They've been here before. And they did it once, so what's to say it won't happen again? Well, at least that is if they've learned from The Hobbit that CGI does not hide the lack of a plot for 8 hours of movie. I mean, seriously though, why wasn't that just one film? That could have been one film. Because of this, I definitely have faith that this can be something. Taking it back to the practical effects of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, with clever camera trickery and models to create the world that we know and love, it can really bring back the charm if they know what they're doing. Now, I mean, I don't really know what to call this part of the video, because it's just Amazon all over, really. One of the biggest companies in the world, headed by the world's richest man. What more is there to say? One thing holding the series back will definitely not be the budget, and I know the budget's not all massive Hollywood blockbusters. They have a massive budget, and a lot of the time they can be absolutely terrible, and a lot of the time can even just flop. But budget is a big point as well, since such great pieces of story writing and storytelling have been held back from the budget, so they need to coincide with each other. So that's why I thought it was important to put in this budget aspect, especially putting a massive $1 million into the Wait. 1 billion? Nah, you've got to be My God. Yeah, $1 billion budget on the planned 5 series of running, which is the most in television history. As a comparison to another massive TV show, Game of Thrones is probably the biggest right now, within the early seasons being about $6 million for each episode, which is massive compared to the normal about $2 million for each episode of like a normal TV series, and going up to around the 8 to the 10 to the 12 million for each episode of the latest series. Still from series 1 to 7, that's only around 100 to 200 million for the whole thing. And this is 1 billion for 5 series. So this is going to be absolutely massive, absolutely incredibly sized. I mean, imagine the amount of battles you're going to get into that. Imagine the settings they're going to be able to produce. And I just hope that this massive budget doesn't blind them, because of course when you get such a big budget and you haven't worked with it before, you just think, get the CGI in there. Quick, Phil, Put another dragon in it! It needs another dragon! I just hope that they can control themselves with this amount of money and create a masterful piece and use that money to the best of their abilities rather than doing the Transformers thing. And they get a bag of money and they chuck it at a wall and a few coins and pennies stick, but the rest of it plops on the floor and goes down a drain. Well, as I mentioned previously, the studios behind the magnificent world of Middle-earth are returning to bring it back to our screens. Whether in your opinion if it's good or bad, Peter Jackson will not be returning and won't be involved, although he has been asked to have suggestions from the studios for ideas on the direction of the show, and there's been a lot of emails out and communication with different screenwriters and directors to get involved in this thing. The Grey Wizard himself, though, Ian McKellen, has said to be interested in reprising his role as Gandalf in the series. Yes, Grey Wizard, you heard me. Well, at least where the first series is based around. And I mean, since Gandalf is thousands of years old, it doesn't really matter where they go in time. Unless they go really far, I'm pretty sure Ian McKellen has every chance to come back to his role as a staff-waving badass. Andy Serkis, who is the master of motion capture acting, says he loves the sound of the new series, but he doesn't really expect to be back as a part of it, which for me is disappointing, since he's really shown, starting off with Gollum and then coming on to roles as Lord Emperor Snoke, and then of course Caesar in Planet of the Apes. He's really shown that, my god, that guy can act, but unfortunately he's probably not going to be able to come back for this series. It might not come along as timeline unless they do a whole season based around Gollum and that sort of thing. And I'd love to see something about the Hobbits, because that would be able to introduce Smeagol and all that storyline. One angry dwarf who won't be coming back to make any return, I highly doubt, is John Rhys Davies, who you do know played Gimli, and he's already jumped on the wagon criticising the TV series, saying it's way too early. That's my wee lad Gimli. I couldn't help myself. Out of all the problems that the Hobbits have, that one line makes up for a lot of them.
Give it back, that's private.
Who is this? Your brother?
That is my wife.
And what is this horrid creature? A goblin mutant.
That's my wee lad, Gimli.
But he has said it's too early since the original trilogy, and he thinks it's just for money, which, I mean, he does have a bit of a point there. And finally, I think I'm happy to say that Sean Astin is enthusiastic as coming back as Samwise Gamgee. I'm not sure how he would fit in the timeline, at least for the first series of what they've got planned, but since I think they're probably going to do a different era and period over each of the seasons, maybe we're going to see him at some point, which is nice to know. Now, the first series has been confirmed to be about young Aragorn, which I think is probably a good place to start. Leading in, I don't think they want to overwhelm the audience, so focusing on one character's story and their arc is probably a good move from Amazon here. There's some interesting stories to go on about. I mean, his days of a ranger and very much linked to the elves when he fell in love with Arwen, so who knows. But if they do go down this timeline with this style, I think it'll be very much an enclosed quest with these characters, with smaller skirmish battles rather than the big full-scale battles that we've seen and multiple storylines coming together from the original trilogy. But what is set for the future series is yet to be discovered. So what storylines would you like them to cover in the aspects of Lord of the Rings and the world of Middle-earth? I do expect Orlando Bloom to make a return. I say I do expect. I want him to come back as Legolas, or at least coming back throughout some of these series, since he's definitely an iconic character to the world, a personal favourite. And to be fair, it fits in with a lot of the storylines that are speculated as well. Now, the speculations for beginning production in November 2019 approximately, but Amazon have to legally start production by 2020, otherwise the deal gets cut off. So we do know it's going to start production then, but probably a little bit before. So meaning there's a lot of expectations for it to come onto the screens about 2021, maybe 2022 as well there. But I'm definitely looking forward to this Amazon series. What do you guys think about it? What storylines would you like to see? I was a bit skeptical at first, but now I'm pretty excited, researching a bit into more, the pedigree that's behind it, the work that they're going to be putting into it. So I have faith. I'm going to give it a chance. I'm not going to get overly hyped, since of course that always ends in disappointment, but nonetheless, I'm still going to be definitely keeping an eye on this and definitely watching it when it comes out. But thank you guys for watching. If you want to see more videos like this going into more of the TV shows and just culture in general, I tend to make a lot of historical video game content, but I feel like expanding a bit is good for the channel. So if you guys like this stuff, if you haven't already, hit that red button there. I mean you don't have to, as long as you just like the video. That's good enough for me. But thank you guys for watching, and until then, I will see you in the next one.